Brought to you by...
Sometimes you watch a slasher film ready for a classically brutal rendition of the types of things made famous by icons like Freddy, Jason, or Michael Myers. You dive in ready for ruthless carnage, cheesy characters, and a crazy 80s score that will feed your love for the good old days. However, sometimes you get something else. Sometimes you get an attempt at a deeper, winding mystery. Hello friends, and welcome back to ETF, where today we teeter on the edge of the axe. Taking place at the dawn of the technological age, when personal computers were becoming the hot commodity that everyone wanted to get their hands on. An axe murderer terrorizes a small Northern California mountain community, while two young computer-obsessed adults attempt to solve the killings. The film kicks us off with a very Nightmare on Elm Street sounding synth score as a nurse gets herself brutally axed to death while going through an automatic car wash. The preceding moments of the film take some time to develop a few of our supporting characters, as the killer makes his presence known around the small mountain town. Soon after, we are introduced to our protagonist and his friend, a pair of small town boys named Richard and Gerald. Maybe it's the fact that they both work a crummy pest control job, but they reminded me an awful lot of Gordy and Sean from Ready to Rumble. The majority of the film is paced out like an old slasher movie. Killer in the town, cops trying to keep it hush-hush to protect the quaintness of their little town, and a couple of nobodies getting caught up in the mayhem. It's a full 20 minutes before we get to meet our other computer protagonists, buxom, feisty, and nerdy little blonde named Lillian. It's a pretty easy match once these two get together. Both share a bit of a quick-witted personality and a love for computers. It seems like no woman throughout this film, except for maybe Lillian, wears a fucking bra at any point. Yeah, that's right. I looked. What? A puppet can't like tits? Fuck you. Each of the kill scenes are pretty fucking violent. Even early on, as we watch what I can only assume is hooker get beaten with a fucking axe over and over in a back alley. They don't skimp on the blood in any regard, but they never go overboard with it either. For a film from '88, you could say that this one leans closer to realism. The killer in this film even breaks the cardinal fucking rule. Don't ever kill the fucking dog, man. Visually, the design of the killer's costume is quite striking. The plain, featureless white mask is a startling visual choice, and it stands out among the dark from which it strikes, much like the gleam of his axe blade, and is a big reminder to Halloween. These fucking dimwit cops are just assholes. They play their parts with a slack-jawed southern drawl and look at every single killing and try to explain it as anything but what it is, even with experts clearly telling them that they were fucking murdered. We're given a backstory for Lillian that sort of drops hints that she might be the killer. She talks about being under medical supervision and no longer taking her pills. Kind of hard not to suspect her in some way, especially just moments earlier as a woman is slaughtered in a pig pen. I couldn't help but wonder why the killer looked a little small in stature. Then, a couple of scenes later, Richard finds a head in a lake, and we learn that it belongs to a nurse from a psychiatric hospital. Do you see where I'm going with this? They try to keep it subtle. They didn't do a very good job, but I see what they were trying to do. Thankfully, they do layer in some more information as the plot progresses that suggests that the killer might be Lillian's cousin, who she almost kills as a child. So that helped sway suspicion a bit. And then it starts to become obvious that our buddy Gerald is that cousin. And he's stripping his cousin Lillian. And now it's fucking weird for everyone. I will say that these misleading plot turns did keep me wondering for the majority of the film which would be the truth, and which would wind up being explained away. These two conflicting possibilities come literally crashing together in the film's finale. until that final revelation comes far too late to change anything, and the real maniac is left to continue their spree. The film's visual style is fairly standard for the most part, but I did notice that it takes some visual cues from Italian cinema at times, utilizing a few camera techniques that I wouldn't have expected to see, like sharp zooms that accentuate a character's intentions. There are also the shots toward the end of Gerald sneaking into the house wearing black leather gloves. This film takes its moments when it can and has a lot of fun with the summer loving vibe, but it suffers from more than a few sound leveling issues throughout, where dialogue will often dip very quiet, while sound effects like thunder and lightning will be overbearing. The synth score of the film is dialed up to 11 at moments to emphasize the tension and heighten the experience. I think one of the most annoying fucking parts of this movie is the stupid fucking monotone voiceover that they put over all the messages that Gerald and Lillian send back and forth to one another over the computers. We can fucking read. There's no reason for it to be there, and it drove me nuts to have to hear it every single time. I'm giving Edge of the Axe a B minus. In terms of slasher films, this one actually delivers on what it promises to be. However, it also aims to be something more complex than your standard kill-a-minute carnage fest. As cheesy as this one is throughout, I really appreciate the attempt to craft a deeper, more mysterious plot. Each red herring element is layered on super thick and didn't change my mind at all about who I thought the killer was gonna be. But at least it gave it a shot.